The plot begins with following Icarus to the Grand Sea Tunnel. The Grand Sea Tunnel is a crucial facility in the plot. It connects the miasmic swamp with the Grand Sea. It was also an important transportation route for early Inars supplies. What was its predecessor? These can be found inside the tunnel. After controlling the Nemesis to enter flight mode, it can be seen that not all of the interior of the tunnel is man-made. There are also some natural caves inside the tunnel. Some people may think it is because it has been abandoned for a long time. Therefore, it led to severe damage to the tunnel. But that is not the case in reality. Actually, this is a passage of an underground river. We can confirm this by referring to the records of Breezy Island. The establishment of Inars occurred after the year 2668 AD. However, the explorer's log is from the year 2667 AD. This indicates that the passage existed even before the establishment of Inars. Otherwise, the explorer would not have been able to reach Breezy Island. Taking a bolder guess, the Grand Sea Tunnel was actually built before the Cataclysm. This can also be seen from the operating equipment inside the tunnel. Xiaofeng has always felt that the operating equipment here is too primitive. It doesn't look like a place with very advanced technology. Considering the research on the spatiotemporal oscillators on Breezy Island, it is very likely that the laboratory supplies were also transported here. However, it is difficult to determine whether this tunnel was privately constructed or built by the Norn Federation. However, the tunnel here is not as impressive as imagined. Everywhere reveals a sense of barrenness. The artificial facilities mainly serve to reinforce the passage rather than covering it comprehensively. From this, it seems that Inars only made simple use of it at the beginning, then gave it up when the teleportation was built. Why wouldn't the current tunnel be abandoned? Because of the time. From the year 2668 AD to the present year of 2712 AD. Only 44 years have passed. In an unattended state. In just 44 years, it is obviously impossible to make the intact tunnel look like this. So we can only speculate that the tunnel was originally like this. Speaking of the Grand Sea Tunnel, you can climb out through the gap above the exit of the tunnel. And then you can have a panoramic view. Most of the scenes of the underwater tunnel are here. But because of this, it is impossible to deduce the setting from the map. After exiting the tunnel, you arrive at Deep Spring Isle. At this point, the island is already covered with Gray Space Entity. After attacking Outpost number 10, a series of plans by Gray Space Entity began. We happen to encounter the attack on the Mook Squad. From here, it can also be seen that Gray Space Entity already has tactical awareness. Their actual target is the Abyss Current on Somerset Isle. The attack here was just to distract the Mook Squad. It can be seen from this that Gray Space Entity has infiltrated into the interior of Inars. Even the duties and strength of the Mook Squad are clear. After joining up with the Mook Squad, Shiro was the most outstanding performer. Compared to the silly personality of Ian, Melania's social anxiety, Shiro is undoubtedly the think tank of the team. Perhaps it is because the mission is located by the seaside. Shiro is particularly dedicated and directly exposed the identity of the mole. Unfortunately, no one was willing to listen at that time. Otherwise, catch spies would not have been so troublesome. Shiro took the lead and went to Somerset Isle. To be honest, this is where the Gray Space Entity forgot to take into account. No matter how much they prepared, they didn't expect us to come to Inars through the tunnel. Due to our appearance, Shiro was able to check the anomaly with peace of mind. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to detect the anomaly on Somerset Isle. Nor would we have encountered Lon and Canro. It's possible that Abyss Ant deterioration has already gone to the Domain 9. After exchanging pleasantries with everyone, we set off again for Inars. On the way, Icarus mentioned the modification of Ian. All of this is a setup for the later mole catch movement. When it comes to underwater combat, many people still think it's terrible. Then let's experience the movements during the test server. There is definitely no slow motion. Actually, this is also Tower of Fantasy's way of meeting everyone's demand for realism. The resistance of the water slows down the movements. But Tower of Fantasy has always been focused on high-speed combat. This sticky feeling not only doesn't increase realism, but also makes the combat more uncomfortable. Therefore, games really shouldn't pursue realism excessively. I hope Tower of Fantasy can pay attention to this in the future. Speaking of the modification of Ian, it is also very interesting. The mole added a positioning device to Ian through modification. Then, they attracted the attention of Ian by using a small amount of Gray Space Entity. Thus, they achieved the goal of diverting the attention of the Mook Squad. This also means that even if the Gray Space Entity created an army nearby, Ines was unaware. It was still quite shocking to experience the ocean current for the first time, especially with the company of dolphins. During that time, we also learned about the existence of the waterproof force field. This was mentioned in the video about Breezy Island. I won't go into detail here. Strictly speaking, Inars is not a unified entity. Instead, it is divided into the main city and satellite cities. The main city refers to the central building. The satellite cities refer to the flat egg-shaped buildings built around it. The main city serves the function of absorbing energy and carrying out political tasks. The satellite cities are the true residential areas. That's why Fiona is confident in Inars that it can accommodate all of Vera's inhabitants. Because the satellite cities can be continuously expanded, as long as they can obtain energy from the main city. Didn't bring any gifts when first arriving in Inars. Naturally, we were not well received. We were urged to quickly go see Fiona. Their attitude towards them could be seen from Roy and Wanling's behavior. They have a lot of respect for Fiona. The Queen of the Sea is truly worthy of her title. They just arrived here and found Wanling submitting patrol routes. The Polt are also trying to confuse us for mole catch movement later. Lucius working while Sick is also laying the groundwork for mole catch movement. In the storyline of version 2.4, mole catch movement occupies half of the plot in version 2.4. This is an extension of the swamp imposter. However, the reason we couldn't determine it is entirely due to insufficient information. After obtaining sufficient information, it is still easy to identify the traitor in this round of mole catch movement. Lin immediately instructed Nemesis to set up a barrier. By the way, when did Shirley learn this skill? Then, they talked about the imposter. It has to be said that Fiona is also a character with high intelligence. She had already noticed it earlier, but lacked information in this regard. After hearing Lin's words, she naturally made a judgment. You can also tell who it is from the silhouette here. It's a pity that Shiro is not here. Otherwise, we have to beat the bookworm once. Matters concerning the ocean are all important affairs. The bookworm actually said it was a small matter. This is a blatant self-exposure of identity. At this time, we learned that Shiro needs support over there. Sure enough, Shiro is very smart. Exposing the spy and disrupting the transfer of the gray space entity. All of them are one step ahead. After arriving at the Somerset Isle, we found that the Mook squad had already assembled. Abyss Ant Deterioration is attempting to cross the abyssal current. In this version's new boss. I am most curious about it. There seems to be a clone inside its body. Both of them can launch separate attacks. This is well demonstrated in battles. There are also devices rotating around it. There are marks on them. What is their function? My guess is that they have the same function as the timestamp. But there is still a lack of evidence to support this. Let's leave it at that for now. Lan and Kanro from the Domain 9 have arrived. They solved all the gray space entity with just one move. This also makes many people feel that Lan's combat power is very strong. Actually, from the plot's perspective, Lan is indeed very strong. In the final battle, Lan and Kanro also cleared the field with just one move. In a large-scale AoE damage. Lan's ability to clear small monsters is excellent. This seems to have also extended to her weapon design. We only learned about the Domain 9 through the conversation with Lan. They are also under attack by the gray space entity. However, in the Domain 9, the gray space entity is called Fei Ming, Chinese version. Next is the showdown between the leaders of both sides. Lan didn't tell Lin the information right away. It was also introduced in Lan's file. Was her first reaction to kill the person in front of her or to choose to believe? The same goes for Lin. Neither side chose to believe the other at first. Even when Kanro wanted to stay. Lin also asked Icarus to stay and help. These seemingly ordinary actions are actually a reflection of both sides' cautiousness. They both understood each other without saying a word. When it comes to finding the gray space entity Dominion, Nemesis must be involved. As expected, she was the first to notice the anomaly. Later on, she discovered the presence of the gray space entity inside the cave. The protagonist noticed the anomaly of the patrol robot at the first time. Immediately after was an exciting mole catch movement. When enough intelligence is obtained, the mole also surfaced. In the process, Melania demonstrated excellent cave exploration abilities. The transformation of Ian became a breakthrough. Fiona gathered everyone to start looking for the mole. Unexpectedly, the nerd blew himself up with the first question. It's a pity that Roy is a fool. He accused Lucius. This cannot help but remind me of a certain famous detective. As they were talking, the two of them started fighting. Fiona and Lin joined forces and caught the imposter. The farce also came to an end. But right after that, an even bigger problem emerged. There have been issues with patrols for a long time now. What is the scale of the gray area manifestation now? We have to go investigate ourselves. We were shocked by what we found when we investigated. They just directly cultivate a legion. Actually, this can also be considered a blessing in disguise. Due to the early exposure of the imposter, we were able to discover the Gray Space Entity Core earlier because of the imposter's premature exposure. The Gray Space Entity Core had to advance their plan. Our appearance means that we have disrupted the Gray Space Entity Core's overall deployment plan. This is where Fiona's PV content is connected. After learning that the Gray Space Entity Core is gathering at the bottom of the sea, we explored the area immediately. The first one to stop us was Abyss Ant Nakia. We really found some information about her origins. Her full name is Idlach Nacha. She is a character from the Cthulhu mythos. Her alias is the Spider God. She is described as being the size of a crawling human and has spider-like limbs. This is probably the inspiration for the Tower of Fantasy. But I wondered why Nakia's body is similar angle of clemency. In particular, the hood also has 93 printed on it. What is the connection between Abyss Ant and the angle of clemency? Until we reach the volcanic zone, the Abyss current has been activated. In fact, the Abyss current shouldn't have been activated so early, because the crystallization process has not been completed yet. Below is the exploration screen after I withdrew from the battle. As you can see, almost the entire volcanic zone has been crystallized. Only the magma inside the volcano remains uncrystallized. There is also Habawila present inside the volcano. What exactly happened here? Habawila is a war pet summoned by Scylla. It has been lurking inside the volcano all along. Meanwhile, Scylla has been absorbing the energy of the volcano to complete the transfer. That's why the surrounding environment is all crystallized. But we arrived too quickly. Scylla didn't have enough time to absorb the energy. The transfer was not successful. Afterwards, she was defeated by us in battle. Its crystal core happened to fall into the volcano. The surrounding volcanoes also instantly recovered. There is another speculation here. Are the surroundings of the Dragon Breath volcano really all magma? Have you ever seen magma that can fly in the sky? Before being activated, the crystallization is more like Marsoid ore. There is another evidence to support this. As soon as the volcano was activated, communication was restored. Considering the previous statement that Marsoid ore can affect signals and communication, it is highly possible that the previous crystallization of the volcano was meant to block communication and signal transmission. This was probably done to prevent us from calling for reinforcements. However, this led to a new manifestation of the Marsoid ore. The activated form. Of course, this is just speculation. Mainly because the magma flying in the sky is quite bizarre. After a period of slacking off, finally, the reinforcements have arrived. This is considered the climax of the 2.4 plot. Even the angle of clemency has come. What surprised me here wasn't just the angle of clemency. It's Archon Elric. The angle of clemency was teleported here from the District 9. This can be seen from Meryl's escort at the end of the episode. Hykros is actually willing to cooperate with heirs of Ida. You know, both sides have captured each other's headquarters. It can be seen that the two sides are not really irreconcilable enemies. Although they don't like each other, they unexpectedly recognize each other's existence. Archon Elric also referred to heirs of Ida as the Lost One. Heirs of Ida has taken a big step forward on the road to redemption. As expected, we will fight Habawila alone. Thus, under the plot, the weakened Habawila was beat. Soon after, we learned that the timestamp of Kanro cannot close the Abyss current. Pay attention to timestamp, it will be mentioned in the future. It will make the unstable time and space stable. Or perhaps even more twisted. This is also the means by which the Domain 9 deal with the Abyss current. But this also foreshadows the plot later on. How to close the Abyss current. When will Verbilia act together? What kind of story will the plot of Vera end with? We can see some clues from the plot of Vesperia. The Peak of Asperia is the final battle on the Tower of Fantasy. Subsequent version updates will be the continuation of the story. Similarly, Vera has also had its peak plot. There won't be any larger version updates in the future. The next step is definitely to aim to shut down the Abyss Current. After all, it's almost time for the Domain 9 version. The Abyss Current cannot be shut down. Either it's to set up a foreshadowing for the Domain 9, or it could be the final cleanup by Vera. Leaving the Abyss Current like this can only be seen as a threat by Vera. As long as the Abyss Current remains, the Gray Space entity will continue to launch endless attacks. They are attempting to cross over to the Domain 9. The Gray Space entity's objective has become clear. The location of the Hive Mother has also become clear. From the previous plot, we learned that the Hive Mother is imprisoned. Now the Gray Space entity is pouring into the Abyss Current frantically. It's possible that the Hive Mother is imprisoned in the Domain 9, as we can see from this. But all of this happened after version 3.0. That's all for this episode. Follow Xiaofeng. Experience the unique Tower of Fantasy with us.